The Perks of Being a Wallflower by Stephen Chbosky. Now, before I forget again, I do want to issue, I guess, a sort of trigger warning. There's some pretty heavy themes in this book, albeit small. I love that, small. But seriously, there's some very heavy themes in this book, so if you're willing, stick with it with me. September 18th, 1991. Dear friend, I never told you that I am in shop class, did I? Well, I am in shop class, and it is my favorite class next to Bill's advanced English class. I wrote the essay for To Kill a Mockingbird last night, and I handed it in to Bill this morning. We are supposed to talk about it tomorrow during lunch period. The point, though, is that there is a guy in shop class named Nothing. I'm not kidding, his name is Nothing, and he is hilarious. Nothing got his name when kids used to tease him in middle school. I think he's a senior now. The kids started calling him Patty when his real name is Patrick, and Nothing told these kids, listen, you either call me Patrick or you call me Nothing. So the kids started calling him Nothing, and the name just stuck. He was a new kid in the school district at the time because his dad married a new woman in this area. I think I will stop putting quotation marks around Nothing's name because it is annoying and disrupting my flow. I hope you do not find this difficult to follow. I will make sure to differentiate if something comes up. So in shop class, Nothing started to do a very funny impersonation of our teacher, Mr. Callahan. He even painted in the mutton chop sideburns with a grease pencil. Hilarious. When Mr. Callahan found Nothing doing this near the belt sander, he actually laughed because Nothing wasn't doing the impersonation mean or anything. It was just that funny. I wish you could have been there because it was the hardest I've laughed since my brother left. My brother used to tell Polish jokes, which I know is wrong, but I just blocked out the Polish part and listened to the jokes. Hilarious. Oh, incidentally, my sister asked for her Autumn Leaves mixtape back. She listens to it all the time now. Love always, Charlie. September 29th, 1991. Dear friend, there is a lot to tell you about the last 2 weeks. A lot of it is good, but a lot of it is bad. Again, I don't know why this always happens. First of all, Bill gave me a C on my To Kill a Mockingbird essay because he said that I run my sentences together. I am trying now to practice not to do that. He also said that I should use the vocabulary words that I learn in class like corpulent and jaundice. I would use them here, but I really don't think that they are appropriate in this format. To tell you the truth, I don't know where they are appropriate to use. I'm not saying that you shouldn't know them. You should, absolutely. But I just have never heard anyone use the words corpulent and jaundice ever in my life. That includes teachers. So what's the point of using words nobody else knows or can say comfortably? I just don't understand that. I feel the same way about some movie stars who are terrible to watch. Some of these people must have $1 million at least, and yet they keep doing these movies. They blow up bad guys. They yell at their detectives. They do interviews for magazines. Every time I see this one particular movie star in a magazine, I can't help but feel terribly sorry for her because nobody respects her at all, and yet they keep interviewing her. And the interviews all say the same thing. They start with what food they are eating in some restaurant. As gingerly munched her Chinese chicken salad, she spoke of love. And all the covers say the same thing. This random person gets to the bottom of stardom, love, and his or her hit new movie television show album. I think it's nice for stars to do interviews to make us think that they are just like us, but to tell you the truth, I get the feeling that it's all a big lie. The problem is, I don't know who's lying, and I don't know why these magazines sell as much as they do. And I don't know why the ladies at the dentist's office like them as much as they do. A Saturday ago, I was in the dentist's office, and I heard this conversation. Did you see that movie? As she points to the cover. I did. I saw it with Harold. What did you think? She is just lovely. Yeah, she is. Oh, I have this new recipe. Low fat. Uh-huh. Do you have some time tomorrow? No. Why don't you have Mike fax it to Harold? Okay. Then these ladies started talking about the one star I mentioned before, and they both had very strong opinions. I think it's disgraceful. Did you read the interview in Good Housekeeping? A few months back? Disgraceful. Did you read the one in Cosmopolitan? No. God, it was practically the same interview. I don't know why they give her the time of day. The fact that one of these ladies was my mom made me feel particularly sad, because my mom is beautiful, and she's always on a diet. Sometimes my dad calls her beautiful, but she cannot hear him. Incidentally, my dad is a very good husband. He's just pragmatic. After the dentist's office, my mom drove me to the cemetery where a lot of her relatives are buried. My dad does not like to go to the cemetery because it gives him the creeps. But I don't mind going at all because my Aunt Helen is buried there. My mom was always the pretty one, as they say, and my Aunt Helen was always the other one. The nice thing was my Aunt Helen was never on a diet, and my Aunt Helen was corpulent. Hey, I did it! My Aunt Helen would always let us kids stay up and watch Saturday Night Live when she was babysitting, or when she was living with us and my parents went to another couple's house to get drunk and play board games. When I was very little, I remember going to sleep while my brother and sister and Aunt Helen watched Love Boat and Fantasy Island. I could never stay awake when I was that little. I wish I could, because my brother and sister talk about those moments sometimes. Maybe it's sad that these are now memories, and maybe it's not sad. And maybe it's just the fact that we loved Aunt Helen, especially me, and this was the time we could spend with her. I won't start listing television episode memories, except one because I guess we're on the subject, and it seems like something everyone can relate to in a small way. And since I don't know you, I figure that maybe I can write about something that you can relate to. The family was sitting around, watching the final episode of MASH, and I'll never forget it, even though I was very young. My mom was crying, my sister was crying, my brother was using every ounce of strength he had not to cry, and my dad left during one of the final moments to make a sandwich. Now, I don't remember much about the program itself because I was too young, but my dad never left to make a sandwich except during commercial breaks, and then he usually just sent my mom. I walked to the kitchen and I saw my dad making a sandwich and crying. He was crying even harder than my mom, and I couldn't believe it. When he finished making his sandwich, he put away the things in the refrigerator and stopped crying, and wiped his eyes, and saw me. Then he walked up, patted my shoulder, and said, "This is our little secret, okay, champ?" "Okay," I said. And Dad picked me up with the arm that wasn't holding the sandwich, and carried me to the room that had the television, and put me on his lap for the rest of the television episode. At the end of the episode, he picked me up, turned off the TV, and turned around. And my dad declared, "That was a great series." And my mom said, "The best." And my sister asked, "How long was it on the air?" And my brother replied, 9 years, stupid." And my sister responded, "You, stupid." And my dad said, "Stop it right now." And my mom said, "Listen to your father." And my brother said nothing. And my sister said nothing. And years later, I found out my brother was wrong. I went to the library to look up the figures, and I found out that the episode we watched is the highest watched anything of television history, which I find amazing because it felt like just the 5 of us. You know, a lot of kids at school hate their parents. Some of them get hit, and some of them got caught in the middle of wrong lives. Some of them were trophies for their parents to show off to the neighbors like ribbons or gold stars, and some of them just wanted to drink in peace. For me personally, as much as I don't understand my mom and dad, and as much as I feel very sorry for both of them sometimes, I can't help but love them very much. My mom drives to visit the cemetery of people she loves. My dad cried during MASH and trusted me to keep his secret and let me sit on his lap and called me champ. Incidentally, I only have one cavity, and as much as my dentist asks me to, I just can't bring myself to floss. Love always, Charlie.